who's on your screen with the comic book scene. No one but Dan Shaheen.
Oh, hello world. Got the new shortened intro. My analytics tell me that maybe some people aren't sticking around past the first 30 freaking seconds of accordion music. So we're trying something. We're tightening it up a little bit. Welcome to the $1 Million Mailbox. I'm your old pal Dan Shaheen. Guys, you hear me okay in there? Give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me okay, Larry. Great, thank you. Oh man, I got a terrific show for you today. I gave away the lead. We've got our old pal Larry, but I need to give the introductory spiel. It's the $1 Million Mailbox where you can see your comics live on the internet. Holy cow. Who else offers you that opportunity? All you've got to do is send them in to the $1 Million Mailbox, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. And if you do such a thing, what will happen? Oh my gosh. Who knows, right? People will get to see your comics. Who knows? Maybe you'll even sell some of those things. You'll get some eyeballs on your comics that are eyeballs that count, that are really into comics. So speaking of eyeballs that count, let's bring on our old pal. I meant to flash this graphic up before, but we've got to bring in our old pal, Captain Fun. Hey, Captain. Hey, welcome. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Dan. Oh, my God. I was having a little sip of water in the green room. And I don't know, the end of your spiel just... Your earnestness impressed me, and I was laughing at my own cynicism. I'm like, I don't know. That's why if it seems a little burbly, that's what's going on here.
Oh, you see him? This is like Larry Noir. I like your...
I don't know. I don't know why it's so dark in here. I've changed no settings. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Maybe I expect a dame to stroll in, and maybe you to drink a shot of bourbon, and insert noir trope here. So we got a big show today, Larry, and we got a special guest too this week.
Who is it, Dan? Who is it?
Well, we've looked at his comics before. We looked at Kurt Burdick's Galacto Pit Fighter, and also Fey Archaic. Yeah. I don't think you were around when I did Fey Archaic. We weren't doing this thing as regularly. That's how far back I go with Kurt here. He's a San Francisco-based cartoonist, right, Kurt? Yeah, and dude, he's great. Like I was telling him backstage, when I read his first submission, Fey Archaic, I was like, man, this guy can draw so well, but I don't know if he can draw comics because it was like illustrated prose. Sort of scenario. It was not panel to panel continuity, word balloons, etc. So I go, okay, he can draw, but can he draw? Lots of people draw, right? But they can't all throw down storytelling. But Kurt delivers, dude. Oh my God, we looked at Galacto Pit Fighter, which was just whetting our appetites, and now this is this book that he sent me. Requiem for a Human Z is amazing, like artifact unto itself that I would absolutely pay more than cover price for. That is my rarest of accolades.
Collectible prices.
For sure. But so we might as well, instead of hearing me jabber about it, we should do two things. One, we should bring in Kurt Burdick. And two, we should go look at the book itself. First, let's bring in Kurt. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm on break right now, so can talk a bit.
Okay. Well, where are you?
Thanks for the nice words.
Well, we've only got started with the nice words. I have superlatives. My bag of superlatives is sitting right here at the ready, and I'm just going to be yanking from it because I'll be honest, this is one of the best things anybody's ever sent me.
Oh wow! Thank you.
It's right in my, like, it hits me square in the feels, whatever the kids say these days. I really, really loved it.
That's great.
All of it. So wait, I'm jabbering. Let's look at it. I got me all big. Why me big when we should be where? In the $1 Million Comics Cam, of course. So wait a minute. Let's temper this a little bit. And how do we do this?
I'm so old. I feel like I'm playing like Name That Tune, and I'm like, that's Boogie Wonderland.
You got it.
Anyway.
Oh man, yeah, on that like 3 notes, maybe you got there 4 or 5 minutes. Okay,
that old.
We will look at some guy named Alex Ross put out some book about the Fantastic Four or something that we'll look at, but Kurt's got a limited time, so we got to look at his stuff first. But hopefully he'll stick around, and we will look at this book. By the way, Larry, your pal, I can't believe you even put up with me like for as long as you have. When you got pals like John Ciuntris, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, like who is scoring the big name interviews with some of the great creators. And he goes so deep and so in depth. He had a great interview with Alex Ross last night. That was just like, I was a fly on the wall glued to it. It was amazing.
Oh, nice.
What was the name of the channel?
That's
Word Balloon.
John Suntrez, Word Balloons.
Word Balloons? Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it
fantastic.
on YouTube and everywhere.
Okay.
He was in commercial radio for 20 years, so those skills really translate to being a YouTube influencer and sensation.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I'm definitely excited about Full Circle. Like, it looks pretty exciting.
Well, John's co-hosted our last series, Star Trek, and it was like, I was watching it, Larry, and I was like, why is this one so much better than usual? And it's like John will stop, and he's like, he's listening to us, Larry, and he's stopping and he's asking questions, and like we're like, he elevated, he made the show better. He
always does. He's just I can't talk about not being able to say enough nice things. He's a like 100% professional, but 100% cool personal guy too, you know? So it's rare that somebody has such a fine point on their area of expertise, hasn't like burned every bridge behind them. And he's like the opposite. He's like, I don't know what the metaphor would be for that. A giant hay bale of friendliness. He's just collected everyone with him, and it's awesome.
And he knows the comics like nobody's business. Like he's reading them and loves them, knows story beats of the great story. Like it was a killer interview. Okay, but
anyway,
Kurt, what do you want to talk about first? Should we look at Herbie's song real quick first? And then
I mean, Herbie's song's a little shorter. I mean, I did it as a it's a 10-page zine, really large zine.
Maxi comic. I was trying to figure out it's a maxi comic because it's got that mini comic feel. It's on this, but it's on nice stiff paper. What kind of are you using? Because it's freaking gorgeous.
Thank you.
Let's get in there.
This is the same format I originally printed my first run of Fey Archaic. I printed each Fey Archaic doesn't have chapters, but whenever I get a significant number of pages done, I just fold it into a 8-page comic and print it up like this. And that was with limited color. And then once I finished that, I recolored the whole thing and made the hardcover. But I like this format. It feels real nice. What was real interesting, like there's a lot of texture in the printing of this book that makes it look like a risograph, but that's all by accident. That's a printing error because of the paper I chose. Like some of the colors like slid, and when I initially got, because all those were supposed to be flats, it's designed as flats in the digital file, and I was calling them up complaining about it, and then halfway and complaining about it, I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, 1 second, like let me go ask some friends, like, this might be fine.
So I was going to ask you about the printing process because I couldn't specify what you're talking about exactly, but it's just got a look to it that looks beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was a happy accident for sure. I hate that term, but it's appropriate for this.
Well, this is it's inappropriate because this ain't a happy book.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
This is a true story, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's based on a true story. I mean, I take a lot of liberties, but
you were there. It's almost like you were there, Kurt.
No, I am a kid of the '70s, so and that's why I picked that color palette. Is because I felt like that like when I remember the '70s as a kid, I just think of trashy yellows and oranges and like, a lot of nicotine stains on bad like wood paneling, like childhood. So I wanted to have like a simplified color palette to like represent that. I think it works, at least for me.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I was really proud of this specific book because I was doing it for this contest that became defunct. Like the contest was canceled. I didn't know it was canceled because I'm not on Twitter, and I don't. In social media, like on Instagram, they don't really show you. They don't show you anything anymore. They just show you like whatever, like you can't really follow anyone on social media.
Ridiculous.
They're like telling you who you're going to see, So I guess they made some posts that it did get canceled, but on the main site of Z2 Comics, it was still listed. So I was like, it was still in the pandemic, so I was still in my own like what the fuck am I gonna do? I was still unemployed. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. I got and I'm a slow artist. Like I take long, so it had a month, and I was able to knock it out all in a month and get it delivered. So I was really proud of that. I didn't really care that the thing got canceled, and it was for the last podcast on the left. They had a brief contest, but it had to get canceled, and which is fine.
Well, give us a nutshell. Like, who's Herbie?
Well, I actually found out about it through last podcast on the left. They did a series on it, and it was a Herbert Mullen, and he was a serial killer in Santa Cruz, where I'm from that area. And so I was a kid. I mean, a little bit after this, obviously, but yeah. So he was operating in Santa Cruz at the same time as Ed Kemper, who was the co-ed killer, who was killing women from Santa Cruz and the Bay Area, and they were operating at the same time. And which made it hard on the police, and especially at that time, Santa Cruz was like a Leave It to Beaver surfer village. I mean, it wasn't, but that's kind of what people thought of it. Like the people's concept of where they were living wasn't two serial killers just slaughtering people. So it's a tragic story. Herbert Mullen was severely schizophrenic, and by the time he was committing murders, they did try to get him committed or in a conservatorship, but that was through recent laws that were passed in California that defunded the mental hospitals. He wasn't able to, get help or, get services. And, also at the same time, there was a lot of acid, and he was taking a lot of acid, getting into meth, and it's just a downward spiral, so it's a local tragedy, it's, it's something that,
yeah.
If there were services, obviously Ed Kemper, I think, is a different beast. He's a little bit more. I'm not really a true crime guy, so this is just I'm a light fan, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to say I'm a fan of true crime. Like like you see a crime and you go like, oh, hey, check that out, man.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. That guy really mugged that guy really well. I'm a true crime fan. I like it.
Well, when I saw this too, and I felt that strong, in an echo, sorry, felt that strong 70s vibe. And I saw it was called Herbie. I was expecting a lovable Volkswagen Bug, maybe some white antics, and we are straight away into like the demons are ordering me to murder children, like right off the bat. Yeah. There's not that many pages in this thing, so it's just a straight up retelling of this poor sick twisted guy. He's the poor guy anyway. He's sick and twisted, and like you said, if he had been able to access resources or whatever, who knows, this tragedy could have been averted. But he was so cuckoo bananas.
Yeah,
like, this is when you think about a crazy serial killer. This is what you think about. Demons are telling them to murder children.
Yeah,
right? This is it's wild stuff, folks.
And there's a couple things though, like he had auditory hallucinations and this representation, I play a little bit more like with the visual. So that's kind of a liberty I was taking. I was trying to make the characters behind him, so like out of his view, like out of his eyesight. So it's making it seem like, okay, this is an auditory hallucination.
So that's what this is. He's imagining her saying she understands and it's okay.
Yeah. And he would hear their psychic. He thought he was hearing psychic voices of them saying like, you know what? I understand. You need to kill me so there's not an earthquake. It's good.
Jeez.
But yeah, I'm actually thinking of developing this into a series and trying to work on and using this 10-page format to do it. I'm still developing it. I'm going to have to do a lot more research and make sure, that I, kind of honor every, because it is a tragedy. There's a lot of people that were hurt. There's still people alive that are living with repercussions of what he did, and also what Ed Kemper did. The trauma of the 70s, and now the trauma of the 2020s. We're all like dealing with trauma, and I just want to make sure I, dot my I's and cross my T's with doing the research. I've never done anything that was based on a true story, so it's a new field for me.
I loved it. True crime stuff is perennial. I feel like you can find an audience outside of comics people that in this, especially when it's done as well as there's a lot of nonfiction comics going on out there. They don't have your level of cartooning.
Thank you.
You're just pure drawing skills and imagination. You're a sick man, Kurt, as we're going to demonstrate.
Well,
are you guys hearing an echo, by the way, when I talk right now?
I'm not hearing one.
Nope. You're good.
Cool. Good.
Everything's good.
Okay, so let's take a look at Requiem, Galacto Pit Fighter's Requiem for a Human Z.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful thing. I like. What is this book? This is a promo.
This is a promo. I'm actually coloring it. The final book will be black and white. I mean, color. The reverse of black and white.
But it'll be this book, this complete story.
Yeah, that's the completed story. It's just not fully colored. The first page is colored. The first page is complete. So the whole book will have that type of color scheme. I am going to offer this as an option. This time around, I'm going to offer the black and white version, the colored version, and I did a variant cover, which after completing the variant cover, I think I sent it to you last night. It's pretty graphic. So I'm going to I'm trying to figure out how to put a slipcase on it so I can cover it so I can feel slightly comfortable showing it at conventions, because it's, I don't know, like keep having these ideas and like, this would be good. And then once I started like putting in the color, and this was with the first Galacto Pit Fighter. Like some of the fight scenes is pretty graphic, and when I drew it out in pen and line art, and pencil, like I was like, yeah, this is fine. And then I start coloring it, and then I start realizing how gory it actually is. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know, but it's fine.
When I saw this kind of spot color, I sort of thought maybe it was an artistic choice, like it was going to be throughout the book this way. But you're telling me this will be a full color page.
Yeah. But I do like this, and I kind of wish, just do, like I'm thinking like if after I do Herbie's song and I come back to Galacto or Fey Archaic or whatever, I'm thinking of having more of a limited color palette, just because like doing the full color, it's like the whole process, it's just a lot of work, and I want to get stuff out a little bit faster. So.
Yeah, but it is beautiful. The stuff in color is great. Your choice of color.
I really like it when it's in full color. So yeah, I got the cow cowl.
Yeah, you're using some kind of photo references sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't trace, but I was definitely looking at photo references. I don't have any problem with tracing. It's just I don't feel like I learn how to build the shapes. So I mean, with Fey Archaic, I was trying to like every technique I could. Like I did tracing, I did like everything that I could think of. And my takeaway was I always liked, if I was looking at reference, I always liked it more when, I just, drew freehand from the reference, not tracing it. It becomes a crutch too. So
ever use any 3D tools?
Yeah, I have. It doesn't really work for me. I did a project with like that SketchUp, and it just everything came out real stiff. So I do like grids in Photoshop, and I build up from there.
Okay, so right away, I saw this book, and I'm like, oh, it's got a unicorn. This page, I'm like, oh, the hero rides on a unicorn. I can't wait to show my 6-year-old daughter this because she's a unicorn fan. And then immediately hoofs to the monkey face. And stomping the guts out of this poor monkey. And you're just getting started on our pal, the chimpanzer. By the way, every Nazi monkey pun imaginable had to have been used by this point. And then you came out, you brought chimpanzer to the table, and I salute you for that, sir.
Thank you.
So, and then the unicorn, I go, okay, maybe I could show, because the unicorn is the victor, and like, okay, unicorns can be tough and are tough, but then immediately the unicorn is just slaughtered in front of children, in front of horrified children, Kurt.
Yeah. I don't know why she brought her baby, but I thought that was kind of cool. Like you go to like a rowdy bar, have your baby. Yeah, you want to see this, honey? This is historic. Yeah. No.
And then his to scream despair. That's his catchphrase. Like the poor kids in the audience, the confused. Although I noticed some people are into it.
Yeah, no, there's definitely like chimpanzees and satanonauts, like, and there's a couple people with like those old. I was looking at those old, Planet of the Apes masks. Those really terrible ones with the rubber bands. So I have some people wearing those. That's like the chimpanzee mask.
And as if it wasn't violent enough, we're like, okay, wait a minute. The poor monkey, he can redeem himself. It's going to be a come from behind, feel good victory for our poor bloody monkey. But no, this is my favorite. Just even his pathetic attempts to, his own wrist snaps when he tries to do it. It's just like, it's patheticness, and it is despair. And it's clear what you're channeling, and the story makes it really clear why it's going in this direction. Do you want to talk about that? I don't want to spoil everything, but
yeah, I can. I mean, do you want me to explain like what the Satanonauts are trying to do, or
why don't you? As I
yeah, sure. Yeah, they're the Satanonauts are trying to funnel and create like a psychic despair engine out of our experiences, and thinking of like, you know, even thought as energy and emotion as energy. They're channeling that like perpetual despair and using wormholes to teleport that energy of despair into this super, well, it's actually like a hypermassive black hole in the center of the universe, and they're trying to add density to that mythical, you know, thing of this black hole, the singularity, to create a big crunch and collapse and destroy the universe. So it's, you know, there was even, you know, over the last couple of years, there's been such misery. And this is, I think, my way of interpreting it to a certain degree of like, you know, trying to do a sci-fi story about the world collapsing, literally, like physically.
So, and Bill Moyers goes in on it, which is perfect. Of course, he's so perfect.
And he's, I could have done a better caricature of the other person is supposed to be Roger Penrose from the 70s, and he's like a well-known physicist on black holes and stuff. So he's interviewing that guy.
This sequence is a little dense way of getting in kind of that exposition almost of what you just explained. But I'll be honest, it ties the whole book together and makes you fully understand what's going on at this
thank you.
right at the moment that you need to understand it. And it's dense here, but this is more dense than you would want to. We would typically say a comic page should be, but this is the perfect moment for it to be that and convey the talking head experience and everything.
Yeah.
And give you that crucial exposition that we needed to make it not just feel like, whoa, this is weird and wild, but like, there's a method to this madness.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, so that in this false reality, like Bill Moyers worked for 60 Minutes and he was interviewing, you know, Roger Penrose, who was talking about these ridiculous characters I made up. And you know, everyone's seeing them as aliens, you know, which they are, you know.
Well, and then I love that we tie it all together with a little bow and a nice little like feel good moment as the little girl like scrubs the monkey brains out of the chimpanzee's helmet and puts it on and plays dress up with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You're sick man, Kurt Burdick, in all the best ways. Like this thing, it hits you in such a visceral way that is really. Anybody could come up with the idea of like, yeah, we're going to drive despair into the black hole and the universe. Anybody can come up with that idea. Not everybody can literally execute a unicorn in the middle of a wrestling ring to pull that off. So like, good.
Thank you.
And then I go, because again, I reread this. I read this just before the show. I love to read this stuff so it's super fresh in my mind.
Oh.
And I might have sometimes I would gloss over stuff like this and go, I'll go back to this later. And then I read the first paragraph. Which I'll read here, and
I think it's worth reading.
It sucked me in so much that I believed this was a movie that you were referencing, and I was going to Google to see if I could find some clips of it.
I wish it was. You know.
And honestly, it wasn't until you said that Frank Oz was killed, and I knew that he wasn't. It was like, and that's way down at the bottom. It's only then that I'm like, oh,
yeah. I think I had like Roger Ebert doing a review of it, and yeah.
Let me read this.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Yeah. All right. Oh wait. Sorry, folks. Yeah, the beach Brazil. Don't laugh at me, Larry.
I feel you, man.
Okay, this is great though. It does work. It feels like a superpower. The Beast from Brazil is a 1979 action-adventure film directed by Franklin J. Schaffner. It stars the professional wrestling team Chris Mangler and Olive Ivanov. James Mason plays the role of Dr. Joseph Mengele. The film originally featured Gregory Peck in the role of Mengele, but he decided to leave the project when learning the opening sequence shows Mengele fornicating with a drugged female chimpanzee. Mic drop on Requiem for a Human Z. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
that is the wrestling, a story for chimpanzee. Like chimpanzee is a made up thing that the Mengler family made up. He was actually from the CCP, and this is actually, there's a conspiracy that they back in 68, 67, China tried to make a humanity, and that there was an actual successful zygote that was made, but it didn't go to I think that's the correct term, right? Zygote. I don't know. But it was fertilized, but then they didn't keep it to term. That's the conspiracy theory myth. And in this, one of the doctors took the small little humanzee and escaped the Cultural Revolution to the United States and was able to get into wrestling because what else are you going to do? I
believe this now. Like, you've written this in such a way that, like, I believed it. Like, I believed in the reality of that movie anyway for a minute. So, like, it's all fully real. The conspiracy theory to me now is real. The Chinese Humanzee is real. That's all real now.
Yeah, and it was based off the I forgot his first name, but I think the Ivanov is the last name, and that's the last name of the chimpanzee character, the real name. There was someone in the Soviet Union, and that's back in the turn of the century, like in the 1910s, 1920s, that also tried to make a, super soldier humanzee by trying to impregnate women with chimpanzee semen and vice versa. And it's like, nothing's working. I don't know. So, yeah. But and this is going to be the variant cover.
Wait a minute, are you seeing this?
Yeah. I think you might need to zoom out or.
Yeah. No, I will. Yeah, I will.
So that's going to be the actual cover, and I threw in a crowd.
I want people to drink in the details here a little bit because.
Oh, thank you.
Like I was saying backstage, anybody who likes reading something like. Shaolin Cowboy is gonna love anything Galacto Pit Fighter, and don't mean that in a derivative way at all. Like, I mean it in the sense that you're not only is it wild and crazy and awesome fights from aliens and chimpanzees and everything else, but it's executed with such precision and such craft that it's like, this is a thing you want to buy, you want to have, you want to hold, you want to keep, you want to read and reread. If you're me, anyway.
Thank you.
We always called that deserves to stand next to each other on the shelf.
Oh, wow. That's a huge compliment. I'm a big Jeff Darrow fan. I mean, the guy's amazing. So
I have no doubts that if he was looking at this stuff, he would be loving it and be supportive of it and
complimenting you too,
and talk it up big time, Kurt. I love it, man.
Wow, thank you.
And let's talk about your writing idea, because I think, dude, You wait till you read this, Kurt, because, dude, Alex Ross, your whole thing about negative emotions being channeled into like another dimension, like that's what he does in this book.
Oh,
and
man. That's awesome.
Like the negative zone is like negative emotions from our universe, and dude,
I can't wait.
Do you got time to look at this a little
bit?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I mean, I haven't read this yet. I do have it. I just, I've been really, just not having time to read stuff lately.
Well, me neither. But luckily, this is a quick read. This is honestly, it's like reading Fantastic Four from the 60s, the Stan and Jack Stan. It's not much longer than like a long issue of the FF. I don't know how many pages exactly it is, but it's not like a super thickie. It's a straight ahead story.
I'm just excited that he's using his line work, his inking, and maybe some like ink washes. He's not doing the full painting. I think that's like real exciting.
Check out this. This is the dust. This is the fold-out dust cover.
That just gives you. That's insane.
Right? Cool. I didn't even know it had this. I read the whole book and I didn't know it was there until I watched the Word Balloon podcast, and John brought it up, of course, and pulled it out and talked about it, and some other stuff that I missed too, because there's a lot of not just like love of 60s FF built in. There's just a lot of like personal symbology built into this book. And Alex, like you said, he's trying new techniques.
That dust jacket is insane though, because it's basically using design to solve a storytelling problem.
Yeah.
That's their origin. Like, oh, magically I don't have to deal with that inside now. Like that's just brilliant. Every book should be like that.
and I hate dust jackets, but this gives me a reason now to treasure and keep this dust jacket and like know that it's an important.
Yeah, what's on the other side of it? The other side of the dust jacket.
Dust.
Okay.
No, underneath the bottom of the book. It has to fold out at the bottom too, right?
No, I wish. No, it doesn't.
Oh, it's attached though. All right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
See, it folds. It's the literal dust.
That's really nice too.
Yeah, that
four design is that the hardcover cover is also really nicely thought out.
Glad you brought that up, because on John's podcast last night, Alex Ross said this 4 was designed by Travis Charest.
Oh, okay.
And that he asked his permission to use it. And then the hollow foil on blue is meant to mimic the new Fantastic Four uniforms that he designed for this book that incorporate the new logo, and that's going to become the new Fantastic Four, I think, outfits in the regular series going forward.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really well designed. Sure.
And then he's going to do the covers of the new Fantastic Four series. So it really ties in so well. I love the way he works on projects like that, like on the design and conceptual phase, but then puts it in the hands of great cartoonists, but then puts that cover as the cherry on top that just makes it all home. Look at, I mean, awesome. I think he said that the face of Reed Richards, I think he said it's Gary Conway, who I thought was Jerry Conway, but it's Gary Conway. And like, it's the actual, I don't know if he said it's based on his drawings or if it's based on the artist himself. I have to go back and watch it. Anyway, either way, the super notable thing about this book is it is not put out by Marvel.
I noticed that. Yeah, it's Abrams, right?
This is Abrams Comic Arts. This is their Marvel Arts imprint, which in my mind is just an admission. They're like, we just can't, we don't have the talent and the ability to put out a book to the quality that Alex Ross.
Man, no, it's not that.
It is that, Larry.
Marvel licensed it to Abrams. That's all.
I know, I
like,
get it.
Go do it, man. They're like, who cares? We get a slice.
Yeah,
they don't care.
The Marvel trades could definitely be printed better, and they do charge a lot for them. You know,
they don't have a design department.
What was that?
Yeah, they stink. They don't have a design department. Their trade dress looks terrible. It would not. They would try to do something like this, and it would just not look good. It would not. I'm gonna piss all over them because they stink.
All right.
And this is proof. That's what everybody wants to dress up. No, Abrams has a great relationship and blah, blah, blah. But, like, it is what it is. They could not do this. Sorry, guys. Sorry to get on my high.
No, that's who cares? That's corporate stuff. I love the new 4, though. That's cool.
Great
Thanks
logo.
for reminding me of Travis Sherritt's work because, man, that guy can draw.
I know. He's amazing.
I think I said on a recent episode that, like, I never got it and I don't get it. And now the titans of industry are weighing in, the Alex Losses and the Larrys and the Kurtz are like, no.
No.
You don't have to like him. I mean,
no, I think he hit his stride when I was going into college and I fell out of comics.
Okay.
It wasn't a thing that I got into.
My thing with him is 100% emotional reaction. There's just something about his line work that makes me think of spaghetti westerns.
Yeah,
like when I look at his art, I hear like, wow.
That's interesting on this page where it looks like he rendered the alien more fully. Am I seeing that correctly on the left page? I don't know. I think that's that. And also, so he's going in and out of like fully rendered to line art, which I think is real fascinating. It's one of the reasons I picked it up. I think it's exciting.
Great. Definitely, again, watch the Word Balloon podcast. I'm going to rewatch it because I dipped in and out, but he goes deep on so many things, including like this kind of psychedelic color palette, this kind of 70s blacklight color scheme. That's, like he was saying, it's really a 70s. It's more 70s than 60s, but that's like his lens of when he was reading the Fantastic Four, when he really started seeing these things. And it's a direct sequel and tie-in to the classic This Man, This Monster. FF number whatever, where somebody impersonates Ben Grimm.
We're bad comics nerds. I think that's 49, right?
It might be 49. And where this dude impersonates Ben Grimm and takes over his body and stuff. And anyway, he's just, Alex Ross is like not like a slave to that old continuity. He's true to that continuity. He wants to bring it in, and then as we'll see, he layers more new stuff on top of that structure. It's really amazing.
51. I went the other way.
Yeah. Right in the stride. That's right in the prime of the best Kirby FF for sure. Just stuff like stuff like his Annihilus, like stuff that's very true to the Kirby style. We'll get to a spot where you'll see absolutely when we drop into the negative zone, where it goes full on Kirby. But what he did here was stripped him down. In the old ones, they used to have these weird harnesses they had to wear to go into the negative zone. Mm-hmm. So his idea was, okay, Reed designs this new costume and he takes vibranium and he infuses it with unstable molecules. It's just a classic sci-fi, just like something Stan would have said. And now we're fine, and we got these new suits, and they're kind of shiny. And it's a great reason for them to all have these new outfits that they have to wear, including a little tiny one piece to hold in the things. Monster, his monsters. He's gotta have.
Well,
he's got nothing going on down there. or it's like, I don't know.
What time is it? We're there already.
And you can change the shape too.
Man.
Fantastic Four Grand Design by a friend of the show, Tom Scioli. He was on the show too and promoted it. I would say a very different concept than Grand Design, but love and homage to.
Grand Design had one of the collection, just the best use of spot gloss I've ever seen on a book. It's so good.
Yeah, we talked about that. Isn't the Invisible Girl a spot gloss?
Yeah, so smart. It was awesome.
Okay, here we go. Homage to the Kirby collage period. That like Kirby really thought that was going to be his thing, right? He's like, "This is my those comics and kid stuff. I'm going to make my mark with the collages."
Man, that's I love the 2001 Treasury edition he did with all that. There's like 4 pages of stuff about planets cut out of the newspaper. You're like, I don't know what this is, but it's pretty trippy.
It's pretty interesting when you see that. I mean, Kirby's like the best. But I remember like picking up old issues of like 70s Mad magazines that had similar techniques of like using collage in it. It's just such an interesting technique to use.
It felt jarring to me sometimes. It often felt out of place. Yeah. I like it on a cover occasionally, but on interiors,
it's hard. I think it's definitely a technique that's challenging. I think there's a way to get it to work, but technologically, we're in such a different era now. So I don't know.
Here's Alex expounding on the next page, expounding on classic continuity. Annihilus eats. We never knew that before this moment. He eats weird bugs.
Okay.
And we're also going to find out more stuff like around like his cosmic control rod. And there's a lot of like core FF mythology that Ross is obviously super steeped in and is bringing to bear on this book.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm into his line work.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you like about the line work?
I think it's more my bias that I'm used to, reading Marvels and, all his covers and stuff that I'm so used to his painting that it's taken me a minute.
I think because it's mainly, I think it's his pencils and maybe some ink washes. When you overlay it with color, sometimes it might feel a little muddy.
Well, and then couple it with the.
I like it. I think it's interesting. It does, because it's like the, this kind of pencil and ink. It does remind me of Travis Charest's work, And
the color choice, the psychedelic color, while I like it, it does add to the sort of darkness and muddiness of the overall image that maybe the $1 Million Comics cam is not giving it as much justice as it definitely looks better in person, I'll bet, than it's doing on the screen.
Oh wow.
Some pretty cool stuff going on here. Okay.
Ooh.
And then there's this moment. Okay. And this, I'm going to admit, this went right over my head until I saw them talking about it on the interview. Ross.
What, the bats and the Joker, all that stuff?
No, this here.
What are we looking at?
Yeah, exactly. What are we looking at? It's really hard to tell who's talking and what's going on. And it's all this, like, it's somebody talking and going, hey, it's time to give it up. Your work isn't what it used to be. You can tell, can't you? It's less than what people expect from you. Everyone thought you were fantastic. Your legacy is going to reflect your degradation of your skills. You're letting everyone down. You're over the hill. And while I thought it was supposed to be like maybe Reed's father, like being mean to him or something, this was an overheard conversation of someone dressing down Jack Kirby about his, like, literally like saying this to Jack, like, your style is done. That's sort of in that 70s period where he was trying to make a comeback, and like not everybody recognized him as the greatest. And this plays into the whole like negative emotions, negative zone theme of the whole book. So he's really trying to do something a little bit, because it feels very like a Stan and Jack FF book as you're reading it, but then he does a couple things to try and like make it go a little bit above and beyond what they would have attempted, both art wise and kind of story and theme wise.
Hey Dan, can you just go back one page?
Yeah.
You don't see on that 2 pages, you don't see red bat shapes ending up with like a Joker thing in the lower right hand corner.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, I see it.
I'm like, what?
Oh yeah,
it's
totally.
like so distracting to me. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And then you turn the page and they have that same like Joker font, that cool work by Richard Starking's Comic Craft that has ruined handwriting.
I think I might have to take off, guys. So
anyway,
yeah.
Kurt, I'm sorry it was so quiet, but I'm so glad you were here, because I was just felt like you were teaching a class that I needed to pay attention to. So that was awesome. Your stuff's fantastic.
All right.
What's the best place to find your stuff, Kurt?
On Instagram, just under my name right now. I also have a Substack under my name and I just started a Patreon, but I'm getting that all set up. So yeah. And I'm going to be doing a Kickstarter really soon for the book we looked at, for both Herbie Song and Galacta Pit Fighter, the Requiem for Humanity. So you can just follow Galacta Pit Fighter on Kickstarter.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I loved them both. I love Galacto. I think for commercial success, Serial Killers is where you want to go that way and build on it, man, because you did great with it.
Yeah, there's also some of my uncles actually knew both of them because they're around the same time. I have a bunch of uncles all in Santa Cruz, and one of them actually went on a double date with Herbert Mullen because his girlfriend. Yeah, I just found out about it. That uncle passed away, so I can't ask him about it unless I get a Ouija board. But supposedly he went on a double date. His girlfriend was best friends with Herbert Mullen's girlfriend, and he said he was spacey. Yeah, that Herbert's real spacey. That's supposedly what he said. I don't know, but.
Well, I would buy both. If I saw these at a table, $8 for this, I'm buying it in a heartbeat. It's heavy, cardstock, a nice thick book, great drawings throughout. Killer. I'm buying it. $5 for this one. It's a song. I'm in all day long at $5. Great price point. Quality higher than it needs to be. Price lower than it needs to be. That's value.
That one might be raised to $8. Do you think that's like, how's that? $8 for a Herbie song? Do you think that would work?
Yeah, all day long, Kurt.
Yeah, give me money. All right, so just follow the Galacta Pit Fighter. I think you can follow it on Kickstarter. That's where I'll be updating about the Requiem for Humanity. So next couple months,
you want to look at this thing and support this.
All right, I'm gonna have to take off, guys. So thanks a ton, Dan. I super appreciate it. It's nice talking to you, Larry. Nice meeting you guys. So have a good rest of your show. All right,
thanks, buddy.
You guys.
What a cool guy, right?
Yeah, boy, that was cool. I'm not kidding. I was just uncharacteristically silent the whole time because I was like, "Hey, man, you don't need to hit me in the head to know that I'm in the presence of greatness." You know what I mean? It's like he's just dropping science left and right. I'm like, okay, I'm glad we're recording this.
I'm saying you guys want to get in on the ground floor of this dude, right? Because this is the kind of guy that oh my gosh, what's that? Like a Trad Moore or something like that. I could see this guy making a jump doing mainstream work that people really like and is well received. But like, his process is intense and he's so hardcore, and his sensibility is so indie comics. I don't know if he ever will.
The thing about listening to Kurt, though, like you and me both know what kind of work goes into that. So he's spending a lot of time with each one of those pages and each one of those images on that page. And I was dying to ask him, like, what's driving that? You know what I mean? But I didn't want to interrupt his flow. So, but
I can't give that much attention to my children. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So I mean, that kind of focus is being fueled by something. So yeah, I didn't want to get off onto a real, like, singing Kumbaya kind of thing. But yeah, he's like, when he was parsing how much of a true crime fan he was, like, I'm just kind of, I guess. I'm like, no, dude. You're following it pretty good, it sounds like.
Well,
anyway, that was a joy. I'm not. It sounds kind of like I'm making a little fun of him, but I'm not. It was a joy talking to him. His stuff is awesome.
One of the best submissions ever, and I mean, we've seen some awesome stuff in the 22 or so episodes of this thing that we've done, Larry. Like,
Shelley Bond is the winner, man.
She's coming in.
I'm going through that book. Oh, just genius on every page.
She's coming in.
Yeah?
She agreed to come in. Yeah, I don't have a date yet, but maybe in October we'll have her in, and you can grill her on that thing. I haven't even.
No. I will tell you right now, it would be just like this. I would just sit there and go, okay, yes, what's she saying? I have no questions for Shelley Bond. It's gold. Dropping the science left and right.
That book is gold.
Yeah.
So I'll go through the rest of this book. I just want to say, like, worth the time.
What's the price point?
Let's see. $24.99.
Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable, actually, for a foil stamped hardcover.
Dude, it's a lot less than the price of ISOM #1 from our pal.
Oh man, that guy.
Oh, that's 96 pages, perfect bound. So $25. Get the hardcover version with the fold out thing. Although I'll bet it'll just be a nice fold out flap on the soft cover when it comes out.
You see who just showed up in the comments? John Santres. John, we were singing your praises earlier about the Alex Ross interview.
Oh, Alex, again, I'll say it again. I'm going to suck up to John again. Like, that was a great interview, and you picked things out of the book and just out of Alex's work and FF continuity and everything that just showed you really you're doing God's work out there, John. Good work. Yeah, Alex outdid himself for sure. It was amazing. He talked for 2 hours, and dude, he went in deep. His encounter with Alan Moore, where he's like, because dude, there's that moment in Kingdom Come that everybody knows when you read it. If you read Miracle Man, was kind of like a Miracle Man, felt like a Miracle Man ripoff. If you didn't know it. And he goes, I asked Alan about that in person. And the exact answer of Alan was just like, I didn't see any similarities between our works. Like, he would not acknowledge it even if it was there. Anyway, Ross was very thoughtful about his answers and about Alan Moore and about what he said about it. It was really great. Not a bad word to be said by him. He was a class act and a true pro. It's really great. As is this book. Like, if you just want, for those of you out there who are just looking for old-fashioned comics, you want to go back to the old days with a high-level craft, here it is. This is it for you. So you better be reading this and supporting this thing. Oh, I love this bit where Reed stretches himself out so the unstable molecules stretch out, and he cuts a piece of his costume off, and it seals itself back up, and he gives it to this fella to use as his new suit. And anyway, I know we're gonna see these guys again. This is like this is the Earth of the negative zone. So it's in the negative zone. It's protected by that dude from This Man, This Monster, who's been there the whole time, and it's a Kirby world that's still in the negative zone. It's protected from all the negative energy by force fields or whatever that this guy created.
That sounds awesome.
It's an extension of original Fantastic Four, as close as you're ever going to get. And it paves the way for the new continuity, and also acknowledges a few things from recent continuity. Like when they go back into the negative zone, Johnny Storm is nervous about it because there was a time just a few years ago in continuity where he was trapped in the negative zone for several years. And so he references that. It's intimately tied in. This is not an Elseworlds book, in other words. This is canonical, and it's going to hopefully launch this new phase of FF, and that will lead into good FF movies, let's hope. Are you pumped for FF?
I absolutely am. They could do whatever they want, and I'd go see it 14 times before I realized if it was a good movie or not. I'm super psyched. I love the FF. That's why I kind of have nothing to say about this project, because I'm like, yes, $25, yes, thank you.
25, yeah, come on.
Yeah,
it's a steal. Honestly, I was really surprised when I looked and saw the price right now, because I would have probably paid sight unseen a lot more. $35, $40, maybe even $50 for the hardcover of a first edition OGN Alex Ross Fantastic Four.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could have doubled that price point.
His dream project, and he brought it to us, and it was great. We loved it, and that's all. That's all I got to say about that one, Larry.
John Sunshine says, "What do we think of the previous FF films? I love the Roger Corman one, but that was time and a place because I had to hunt it down at a con and have one of my friends introduce me to a guy who had the bootleg copy. So that was all part of the fun."
It had its moments.
I loved it. I mean, that Doctor Doom is perfect.
It's the best film Doctor Doom that we've ever seen.
So I mean, me, I can find something to like about everything if I'm even slightly positively predisposed. I thought the ones from the early 2000s were fine. I mean, they're kind of forgettable. I couldn't tell you the plots. I know Doug Jones plays the Silver Surfer in the second one, but yeah, it's not like I bought the Blu-ray.
Well, they did that with that one. What I'll just never understand, again, totally changing, not giving us Galactus. Everybody's afraid to put a dude, a giant dude in purple shorts with a weird helmet on screen, but you have to figure out the way to do it correctly, and I think it can be done.
So John said he reminded me about the Trank film that he hadn't seen it. Can I just tell this quick story? My kid, when it was out, I was like, I'm going to see it. I'll try, I guess. This is pre-COVID. So, so my kid was, I don't know. He was at some daycare thing. I was driving him there. They had the place closed down for hardly strictly bluegrass. I couldn't find the hippie guys that they were supposed to. Anyway, both of us, the energy in the car went, hey, let's just call it and let's go to the movies. And so the two of us basically played little kid hooky and went to go see Trank's Fantastic Four. So it was a stupid movie, but I'm so wrapped around that joyous day I had with my kid that was kind of like a G-rated Meatballs or some kind of Bill Murray comedy that I fucking love that movie. And that one I have on Blu-ray.
But how does your happy memories intersect with body horror movie and
because I didn't see it as body horror. I'm the dude that thinks Alien is a science fiction movie and not a horror movie, even though it obviously is. But I hate horror movies, so I have to do that to get that movie into my top 5. So the same thing with the Trank's Fantastic Four. I don't look at that as body horror. I fucking love Reed's costume. Like that's what you would have to have is like a sort of erector set Iron Man exosuit to keep your shit together because you're noodling all over the place. I fucking love that, right? I don't think about how tortured that must be and how, I'm made out, my dick's made out of rocks now. Oh, well. I kind of think, yeah, my dick's made out of rocks. Let's go throw a tank, So.
Yes, but and I didn't watch the movie.
I was in a different space.
I shouldn't be, but it just seemed to have a very downbeat tone, if not dour tone to it, and definitely visually, that's not what we want to see out of Fantastic Four. Right? We want to see exciting, fun. I want to see Fantastic Four. Honestly, I want it to be a period piece so much. Put it right at the heart of the 60s and reboot the MCU around true Marvel continuities, like timelines.
Well, Mark Espinosa's genius thing about that, right? He's like, you don't even need 3 seconds of screen time. A portal opens up, they come out of the negative zone, and Reed goes, does this dimension have a Tony Stark? And then you just start your goddamn movie. Right? Tell the period piece stuff. Man, they've been in the 60s for like 40 years in the negative zone, or whatever, and tell it that way.
Yes.
But you can crack people over the head before it says Marvel Studios, and that would be everybody's favorite movie. Play some Rolling Stone song.
That's one way to go for sure. I think the
that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Well,
I'll boycott the movie if it's an ounce different.
I'm wondering if they're using the multiverse thing because there's 2 ways you could play it, right? If you want to do a reboot thing, you could go, Christ, there's some kind of crisis that happens that resets time as we know it, or you just don't acknowledge it and you just say like, we're in this other universe now and sort of things are different here. I feel like that would be a cop out. It wouldn't be wouldn't be accepted well by fans. It needs to be a very
my kid says that he's 15 and he's like already sick of the multiverse because he thinks it's a storytelling crutch. I'm like, oh, Daddy loves his variant jacket from Loki, and he's like, okay, that's fine, but you're from the dimension where I allowed that to happen. Don't talk about all this multiverse stuff. He's really kind of teenage and adamant about it. It's pretty funny.
I mean, the multiverse is one of those things where it's like, it's limitless possibilities. But then it's like, it becomes like time travel, just another device for bad storytelling.
Yes, exactly. Here's my thing. It's like, if it goes unaddressed, then a difference that makes no difference is no difference, right? Like they did that in Voyager. They killed Harry Kim, but pulled another version of him out of the dimension who just took over his job, and it was never mentioned again. Right? So it's kind of like that.
You know what? They need to really tie it all together, which I feel we might never get. Is how about bringing Rick Jones back to the into the MCU?
Yeah. Do you think he needs Rick Jones?
I think he could be a great thing to bring in because he was the character that you identified with so much. He was the most bring in the kind of character.
I'm not just bringing this all together, but you can see I'm wearing my shield hat. That's who Agent Coulson was in the movies. He's Rick Jones. So if you have a literal Rick Jones come in, it's just going to, you know what? I almost talked myself out of it. Then I talked myself into it. You have him in the Young Avengers. You have him just do the same role, getting the Young Avengers together. That's where you use Rick Jones.
I would settle for him even just being a rock star or some kind of ancillary character. But he is one of the most continuity wise, right? Yeah. If you're a Marvel guy, Rick Jones, he was Captain Marvel. He was
he's like Zelig. He's
He
the
was bumping.
Zelig of the Marvel universe. He's always got his foot in something.
He totally is, and he could. That's what I feel like they lost him in the comics, and they let go of him, and they just decided to never even try it in the movies. But I love Rick Jones. Fucking am old.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea for a character. Just a Zelig guy going through, action adventure movies or whatever.
And make it Rick Jones in the superhero movies. As long as he's white, though, right? We're on the same page, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, did I go? Wait a minute. Did I go hardcore?
Those guys, man, they can't be black mermaids. It makes me just ashamed. It's yeah, man. I can't even articulate it.
Was by Hans Christian Andersen. How dare they disrespect the source material?
Oh my God, yeah. Anyway. I just like to make the announcement that as a bald, bearded guy with glasses that likes nerd stuff, I don't have an opinion on that whatsoever. My comment on the Black Mermaid thing, man. Like, what? Why does any nerd give shit one? I just don't understand. I don't know. You can tell my wife's been on a business trip for like 4 days because it's getting kind of loose over here.
Everything, the lights are going out. We can tell.
I don't know what's happening, man.
We can tell who keeps things running over at the Young compound. Larry, I got to get out of here, but like, John is on board with Rick Jones. I agree with that one. Although and you know what they really need to do, Larry? Do you have some time, or do you got to take off?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
Okay, so let me pitch this to you. Let me come out fully out of left field and switch from MCU, right, which we agree is a masterpiece of like cinematic engineering by Feige.
Absolutely, yes.
Like, there's no way around it. You cannot deny.
Once in a lifetime. Maybe more.
Not even that. Like, he revolutionized it.
I agree 100%. You can't even review Marvel movies like movies anymore because they're chapters in a book. So, and you just have to take it. And I love reading professional reviewers who just get so angry about that. Like, that movie is awful, and it's like, no, it wasn't. You just didn't understand what you were watching.
I mean, just his ability to translate these things.
It's amazing.
To bring in the things that work, synthesize them with other things, really is like taking a religious text and merging it in with like local folklore, right? When they take a She-Hulk and mix it with an Ally McBeal and synthesize it into something that
right.
It's for somebody else, totally. Like, I really appreciate what he's doing, and a willingness to take risks and other things. We agree with. So, but the DC cinematic universe, on the other hand, right, is like there's nobody at the wheel. There was no Kevin Feige the whole time, and I would say both of us probably agree that's the number one reason why they could never come close to replicating.
Sure. Yeah, there was no singular vision.
Okay. So, Larry, you're the singular vision, right?
Okay.
They put you in.
I get to run DC?
You get to run. They say, Larry, we've been asking around.
All right.
And everybody kept saying, read this True Facts book. Read this book. What? Check out this Black Diamond thing.
I see how this could happen. Like, he doesn't love it, but he understands why people do. Let's see what his take is.
Okay, so what is the first movie that you do to right the ship? Like, where do you have to be? Where can you begin?
So see, here's the thing. What's the brief? Like, why did they give me the job? Are they like, do you want, like, what do they want, right? Do they want a bunch of popcorn movie money?
Larry,
they want awards?
This is what they want, Larry. This is what they want. They want, in this modern age, it's more than box office receipts, right? It's buzz online, it's fan engagement, and it's and it's a set of properties across different media, like but under a singular creative vision, which is pretty amazing when you consider how many Marvel shows and movies there have been.
I mean,
so where do you
are we
start?
assuming?
What's the
Are we assuming that like everything's happened up until now? Like they canceled Batgirl and they just gave it to me, right?
It's today, yeah.
Right.
It's today.
So
you can cancel everything on
the guy they have now, Kazlan or something, is good. He's just like, let's stop this and like do this, and we have this train part that we can't stop, so called the Flash. So this guy's fine, but you know what I would do? I would let all that stuff stop, and then get. I mean, I don't know who, but somebody big to just do Dark Knight Returns. But the full-on like 80s thing,
there you go.
Like, I mean, I even want to say like Clint Eastwood, but the guy must be like 90. But like that's whoever the version of Clint Eastwood is now. Maybe Harrison Ford. Maybe get
Brolin.
Somebody
Josh Brolin.
No. You want somebody that like, holy fuck, I can't believe they got that guy. You know, like Harrison Ford, somebody like that.
Like they dig up Chuck Heston. And they
exactly.
Yeah,
and then just do the full-on 80s thing, right? And get, you know, maybe even keep Cavill as Superman to do the stuff where he's talking to Reagan, and it's somebody who looks just
young,
like
so he still looks young.
And just blow up all the satire and just, you know, get, I don't know, whoever did, who's the guy who did, the Danish guy who did RoboCop? I forget his name. I'm blanking on it.
Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven. Get whoever the modern Paul Verhoeven is, to get whoever the modern Clint Eastwood is when he's about 60, and then just fucking do it as a satire, and then go. We just got that out of our system, everybody, and then that gives you like 2 years to figure out what you're going to do next. That's what I would do.
I want to see Paul Verhoeven's Dark Knight Returns. It's perfect. I mean, actually, considering Miller's work on RoboCop and stuff, I think he would totally agree with that. That would be perfect.
I have very good commercial instincts for this kind of.
That would be a palate cleanser. Okay, all right, Larry, I'll give you that one. That's to like just give us the shock to the system. Something we sort of saw that when we saw Superman versus Batman, right? Like he cherry picked some moments from Dark Knight Returns, but dude, we didn't get the mutant gang leader fight.
Right, exactly, and just do it like that. You know,
this is not a mud pit. This is a fucking operating room, and I'm the surgeon. Like those moments.
I think at this point, doesn't Disney own everything? Because then I would get my real dream job and have like Max Headroom be in a third of that movie.
Although I heard it's coming back.
Well, that's what I hear. I think it's going to be great. Oh my god.
Okay. Well, and then here's what I think the follow-up here. Here's where I think you went wrong. You do Superman. Okay? You're going to make Superman the core of your universe. But you make him the legacy character. You need to set Superman in the Depression era. And that's your Superman that is the core of your universe. And then you could set, like they're doing with Wonder Woman, set it in different time periods, but like you need, Superman is just there aging very slowly aging throughout, so that, and gaining in power, so that when he's in the 30s, he's like that 30s Superman. He could like leap tall buildings, but like machine guns will knock him down, but not kill him, right? But like, as he's on Earth longer and longer through the decades, he's becoming the ultra powerful Superman that we know him as in the modern age. And then you get to they need more humanity back to Superman again.
I think that's your fourth movie, though. I think if you start with that, you're not getting all the buzz on the internet, the social media that you want.
Maybe.
Because everybody's going to go, a fucking another Superman movie. Fuck me. You know, it's cast Harry Styles. Holy shit. You know? But yeah, I agree 100% that that's the movie you do with Superman. That like he's able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. But you know, like if you're going into building to Justice League like they built to an Avengers, right? I mean, first call it something else, right? That's how you get around that.
I actually believe they could have shortcutted themselves straight to it if Justice League had been good. Like, are you telling me that you're going to pick your DC villain? Like, okay, here's our big team, but this is our thing. We're going to give you fucking Beowulf,
right?
Who I'm a comics guy, and like, who the fuck? What? Generic.
Here's the thing. Like, if you're putting me back then, you start with Justice League and then do the individual movies because Marvel built up to it.
Yes.
And you're trying to attain their success. So you make sure you just wait. You know, it's your turn to do something. No, man, we're not ready. We're not ready. You wait and you get every one of those characters perfect.
Yeah.
And then drop Justice League on everybody. And then there's the Superman movie, and then fall is a Batman movie, and then do it that way, and then something happens and it's Justice League 2. That's how you do it, but they'll never do that now. There's no reason to.
They could have dropped Darkseid. If they just put Darkseid, make him the villain. Like, give us a good villain. That movie could have been a hit. I think it could have been, but it was just so generic, just so generically unwatchable that they shot themselves in the foot.
I don't revisit those movies very often. I do watch Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, because it's a lose a bet movie in our house. Because I keep telling Walker that it's the girl Captain America, right?
Yeah,
and he doesn't see it. And then this started when he was younger, so now it's more of a pose. Like, I'm sure he gets the similarities in the narrative now, but anyway, we watch it a lot. If I lose a bet, if he loses a bet, I make him watch that movie.
I fully believe that's what they were going for with that, was to try and make her their version of Captain America.
So why didn't they keep doing that then? Right? I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, I would love to see them bring it back. That's the beauty of this stuff, though. They've proved, like, just like in the comics, there's an endless appetite to reboot these characters because they're so adaptable.
Here's the 100% problem, because those actors are perfectly cast, right? Everyone knows who the characters are. So you look at a picture of those three people and you're like, yes, I get that that's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then, so people are doing their jobs, right? And so it falls down where the last decision to be made to go, okay, here's what we're doing. There isn't anybody there. There's a giant out to lunch sign. And so then you get down the next level, and then now there's three guys, and they're like, well, I think this and I think that, and fuck you, I don't like you, and your wife did that, and fuck you. And you know what? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we did the contracts with the theater owners. We have to put something out, and it's just shouldn't be. And that's Marvel has Kevin Feige to go, that's cool, everybody. I appreciate that you think that, but we're going to do this. And even when he makes kind of what's perceived as a misstep now, it's like nobody liked the Mandarin, right? And then they tried to redeem him a bit in the one shot they did, and now they put him in Shang-Chi with like Baby Yoda, and now everybody loves him coming in Wonder Man. They totally redeemed that character, and it took 10 years, but there's nobody at DC to do that, who has that vision or the power to implement it.
Well, this has been another episode of Ask Captain Fun. I'm glad you stuck around for this. This is a little bonus segment today, Larry.
Captain Larry is just going to keep talking.
No, I loved it. Thanks,
Fire
Larry.
emoji.
I got to get out of here. What did I prepare? Oh, yeah, I prepared something. So I got to do the credits, and then I got a closing clip today. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this thing. Hit like if you liked it. Hit dislike if you don't. Leave a comment. Please show a little bit of engagement, maybe. And Larry, if they want to see their comics on this show, where should they send them, do you think?
Well, it's the $1 Million Mailbox, of course. P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. Send it to Zoom.
It's beautiful here in Arcata, California. Let me just say, oh, and Samoa, California. You ever heard of Samoa, California?
I have not, but I love the. Forget what that font is called, but they used it's something wide Latin. That's what they stole for the Fantastic Four logo. So
okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
Very appropriate. Very appropriate.
Okay, well, this is an amazing 100-year-old logging town near Eureka, California, in Arcata, right on the ocean. And somebody bought all 100, 200 houses, and they're rebuilding every house, and they're turning it into like a seaside village.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So.
Is that Samoa?
It's Samoa, California. If you look up some Samoa, California master plan, you can see some stuff.
I'm totally gonna read up on it. That sounds like the place to film the next iteration of the Prisoner.
Oh, dude, it's actually, now that you say that, it's amazing. Because that spot, and there's this spot called the Jetty that I think is one of the most amazing cinematic locations I've ever been to. Like, it could we would make a really cool some kind of movie.
Let's do it. I just need funding. Let's do it.
All right, you can come on up. We just bought a little house in Samoa, and a tiny little house in that new community, and we'll make it happen. You come on up and visit.
That's cool. Hey, Star Trek tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right.
Serious Star Trek tomorrow at noon. It might be the last Friday. It might be show, but we'll see. It definitely won't be the last show.
That's no way for Captain Fun to go out.
Yeah, no way. Well, we'll have you back here for sure, Larry, because I'm coming back. I got so many more shows to do.
Cool.
And I'm going to play the credits, and then I got a little closing comic book cameo at the end, as usual, that you might enjoy. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Soon all the good comics will be gone.
What do you care about good comics? All you ever buy is Casper the Wimpy Ghost.
I think it's sad that you equate friendliness with wimpiness, and I hope it'll keep you from ever achieving true popularity.
Well, you know what I think? I think Casper's the ghost of Richie Rich.
Hey, they do look alike.
I wonder how Richie died.
Perhaps he realized how hollow the pursuit of money is and took his own life.
Kids, could you lighten up a little? Now, Radioactive Man, he rules. Never punches a bad guy without saying something cool.
He's no wittier than the next superhero.
Oh, yeah? Look. He knocks the guy into the sun and says, "Hot enough for ya?"
I stand corrected.